I have to thank you because I'm having an aha moment with your coaching right now.
Good.
And yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm going to share it with you.
Okay.
It has to do with the show. And I think you saw the artwork on the show, right?
Yep.
Really been struggling. One is very like prim and proper, and one is very like loosey goosey Bobbie. And there's two sides to it, right? But as you're talking, I did not become an entrepreneur to be dictated by norms and rules, right? And as you're talking about personal branding, and what's my identity? My identity is I don't give a shit about that stuff. And I want to have fun. And I want to eat dessert first. And I want to do the things. I want to get in the car and drive around for 5 weeks. And I feel much better about posting my crazy picture.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just identity, because the ultimate dream for me has nothing to do with any of this world. It has to do with a recovery playground. So this is all just stepping stones to make me good for when I build that chain and I get to help people. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, totally.
I don't need to be a suit in the boardroom. I don't need to make a podcast cover to appease other people. Either people are going to like me or not, because that's who my brand is, and I'm comfortable with that. So you just made me 100% more comfortable with that.
Good. Yeah. So I would absolutely. So getting clear on who you are and what you want to convey to the world. And then it's making sure that cover or anything that you produce communicates that. So that would be the only thing that I'd want you to make sure. So it's one thing to say, I don't give a shit, and I'm going to put out this picture because I like it. It's another thing to say, this is what I'm trying to communicate, because the visual communication is so powerful and stronger than even the verbal communication. Verbal communication is important. But because we're communicated visually so much faster than the verbal, making sure that those align. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying it's not. I don't know, and I can go back and look or whatever. But but just making sure that what that message is that you're trying to convey is what is communicated in the visual, in the podcast cover, in the website, in the logo, in your headshot, in whatever. Just make sure that that's communicated.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And the reason I wanted to tell you is because I was having this moment as you were talking about it. I wanted to share that. So you just went a little deeper for my audience on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And because that goes for anybody. And that's what visual communication is communicating visually the message that you have. And it's being consistent on that message, both visually and verbally. So making sure that you know who you are, what that message is, who you're trying to reach, and then how are you communicating that visually and verbally, and making sure that's aligned and it's consistent and you have the constant drumbeat of the same kind of message. And then that's when people get your message and start talking about it to other people.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
Yeah, that was huge for me. So I'm being a little selfish, unintentionally, but I'm being a little selfish.
That's okay. I'm sure hopefully other people are getting something out of this too.
I'm sure, because what you're saying is very powerful and very important. Is there anything else, any major points that you want to share that I'm not thinking to ask?
Sure. Oh my gosh. I could talk for days on this, right? What I will say is just kind of from a bigger perspective. So you asked me the one tip, right? And I said the one tip was figure out your identity first. Given my evolution and the path that I have traveled, my personal self, but then also by watching the clients that I'm helping, I have seen what I can only identify as 4 foundational pillars that a business needs before they can scale, before they can really have the impact in the world that they want to have. So I put those 4, and so that's what I teach my clients now. So I put those 4 pillars into a 4-step process called the Scale Your Brand Method. And the first one is, you could guess, identity. Getting clear on that essence and really who you are. The second one then is message, because that perfectly, once you know who you are, then you can communicate that. And who you're communicating it to and how you're going to reach them. And I'm big in that, in the messaging part. I talk, of course, about visual communication, but also verbal communication. but also making the right choices about how you're going to reach them. So a big thing is especially for solopreneurs, we go to a class on Instagram or on TikTok, and all of a sudden, and you're told you have to be on TikTok for modern marketing. And so you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go do TikTok too. So I'm big on the idea that right marketing is what's right for you and right for your client. So we talk a lot about who you are and how is that going to flow out into meeting the people that you need to meet, and not wasting your time on TikTok if that's not right for you, or putting up a billboard if that's not right for you, making sure it's strategic, right? So it's your identity, your essence, your expression, that messaging. The third step is your experience, your client experience, the client journey. What's the journey you're taking clients on? Again, as solopreneurs, we give our best to our clients and do what we do really well. And we're loving on our clients and we're doing things for them, we're helping them. But it can be, especially when it's just ourselves, it can be haphazard. It can be kind of as we think about things, it can be, certainly isn't something that is scalable because it's just what we do. So thinking through your client journey and what path you're taking your clients on, so that, one, you can figure out there's gaps of what they need from me that I'm not giving them right now in different stages of their journey with you. There you can find, and then you can also find ways where you can kick it up a notch. How can I make this extra special for them? So that's the third step. So it's the identity, the messaging, the experience, and then the last one is the expansion. So then we talk, and truly this to me is the secret sauce. It's the systems. Everybody says you got to have systems, you got to have systems, you got to have systems. And I heard that for many years, and I was like, okay. And so I try to cobble something together, and I've got this little bit over here and this little bit over here. And I was looking for, I would say probably at least 5 years, for somebody to help me, for a way to figure this out. And nobody could tell me. Everybody said I needed it. Nobody could tell me how to do it. And so I finally figured it out, how to do it. And to me, that is what breathes life into the identity and the messaging and experience. It's having the systems in place so that you can be more efficient, more effective, and you can delegate it to the right people who align with your identity. So it's all comes together in this 4-part system where you figure out who you are, and then it breathes life into everything else, and you get the systems to boot.
I love that. I love that. And you're right.